Okay, I think we're good. I think it's working. Yes, we've got audio. Perfect. All right, well, my fire's dying down. What's up? Hi, welcome. I had some problems, but we're here and we made it happen. So, let me build up my fire a little bit before we get into the spicy topics. I have this weird glitch where my laptop sometimes the audio will just completely quit working. Um, so I have to restart it. So that's Windows for you, I guess. So I started streaming and then I realized that I had that glitch. So I had to stop streaming and restart, and now here we are. You know, if I enjoy this and I like it, then in the future, hopefully I can get this a lot more professional and get all the cool jazz that people have, chat on screen and craziness. But I am figuring this out, very much figuring this out. What's up? Ground fog, welcome. Um, I'll wait a little bit to get into the actual topics that I want to discuss. Um, but so I have a few things kind of along the title and about training in general. Also, how's the audio? Let me know how the audio is. Um, I know that the quality is not great just because I'm using the preamps of the laptop, but the volume should be good. So somebody tell me how the volume is. Um, so yeah, I want to do more of these. I was talking with my wife the other day, and I was thinking, oh man, I had this idea where I wanted to do a live stream, but I wanted to do it by the campfire, partly for me because it's just relaxing, um, but also partly because it's something different. People are always live streaming in studios or in rooms or I don't know, locked in a room, and that's kind of boring to me. So I was like, you know what, I want to do it by a campfire. And then I started to get colder, and I was like, man, if I keep doing this, I'm gonna be coming out here when there's piles of snow, and we all bundled up in front of the campfire in the dead of winter for 5 degrees or whatever. And I was like, that's not gonna work. And she's like, why wouldn't it? And I told her, you know what? That does work. Maybe they're like 30 minutes, maybe they're not as long, but there's no reason why I can't bundle up a little bit, come sit by the fire, and as long as the electronics don't freeze up or fog up, I think that'd be fun. You know? Get to watch me suffer. Volume seems lower than the norm. Okay, give me 1 second then. I'll be right back. Let me just add a little boost to that. Oh yeah, it does look a little low. Filters. Let's try 5. All right, how is that? That's a little better. Let's do a little more than that. Little bit more gain. That's probably gonna be too much. I don't know. We'll try that. We'll try that. Okay, cool. All right, so we got 10 of you in there, or whatever, something like that. Um, all right. I'll guess I'll get into the rant, and you guys can post any comment or question or anything you want to talk about, and we'll ramble. We won't be super structured. I don't want to just monologue, or I don't want to just stick to one topic, right? So we can float around, talk about whatever you want to talk about. I'm just here to chat. But first, I want to get into the topic of the title, which is the Trump slump. Now, I heard this term, I think, first from Brass Tacks, but I don't think he came up with it. But the Trump slump. And there's this phenomenon, and it's a very common phenomenon, right? But people, they panic when people who are not friendly to their worldview or guns, firearms, that kind of stuff, Second Amendment, First Amendment, when people that are not in favor of that stuff as much and they're trying to pass policies against that are in office, people freak out. They panic. They will buy guns and gear. They'll buy body armor. They'll buy night vision. It's funny that people don't really make friends during these times. Maybe some people do. It seemed like people don't really focus on that so much. It's more that they buy beans and bullets and forget to read their Bibles. But this is a phenomenon, right? So, classic example. I was pretty, I was a bit of a kid, teenager, whatever. But when Obama was in office, people thought the world was going to end. Now, I am, I'm a young guy, right? I'm 25, so I wasn't that old. I don't really understand the sentiment. I wasn't really that connected to what people were feeling or whatever at the time. I was just minding my own business. I was a kid. But people lost their minds. I remember hearing people all the time talking about how terrified they were that Obama was going to put us in concentration camps, or he was going to come and take all our guns. I There was friends of my family that they would have conversations like, "Oh, when they come to the door to confiscate your rifle, what are you going to do? You know, are you going to bury it, or are you going to get in a shootout?" So people were scared. And if if I remember correctly, firearm sales, ammo sales, all that skyrocketed. Everything went out of stock. It was great for business for some of these different companies. But this is a phenomenon. And then Trump came in, you know, the golden age 1.0. And people got really comfortable, really comfortable. Now, I can remember that for sure. And then we had COVID. What's my regional AO? Wisconsin, Central Wisconsin. Hey, what's up, XXL dude? I did not get a chance to. There's a cat walking through my yard. I did not get a chance to look at your videos yet, but I did look at your YouTube channel page. Looks like you got some good info on there. So, um, yeah, I'll keep it up. I'm not gonna stop. I'm excited about this stuff, and I'm a pretty creative person, I guess. Like, not to brag, but like, I need an outlet to make stuff, right? Um, but I've also outlined before that one of the reasons why I started doing this is just not only as a way for me to practice my skills in terms of like uh, making videos, um, but also as a way to motivate myself to train because, hey, if I haven't been out training or doing anything, there's not going to be anything filmed and there'll be not really anything to make a video about. So that's that helps. All right, back to what I was saying. The Trump slump. Now, this is a phenomenon and it's a big problem. It reflects emotionality in men. It reflects you have no, I'm not speaking, maybe I am speaking to you. Um, but it reflects, hey, get away. Go. Stupid cat. But anyways, it reflects emotionality. It reflects a lack of purpose and direction. It shows that you don't have a grounded foundation. Now, I have been guilty of this, right? We went through COVID and it shook a lot of people, right? Shook me. Um, I think a lot of us felt very like our world was turned upside down. So it's not to say it won't happen, but there should be an extent where you aren't super affected by the emotions of the times. And I will say that I am affected very deeply by some emotions. One of them being, I firmly believe that the United States will cease to exist in the current form of government in some way, shape, or form in my lifetime, right? I'm a young guy. I got however many years to go, but I am trying to, as best as I can, live as if that prediction or belief will come true. I think a lot of people have that also feeling and prediction or whatever you want to call it. Um, excuse me. Or they feel that the country is headed in a not so great direction, right? But if you don't take steps um, that reflect that belief, then you don't really believe it, right? So if you say that thing that phrase that I just said, um, but you don't constantly take action to set yourself up for that scenario, and even to the point where you sacrifice things that would be beneficial in a different scenario. So, for example, you believe that the country will go through turmoil or an authoritarian government will take over or we'll have anarchy, but you constantly take action in your life in a way that will set yourself up for everything, all the action you take in your life sets yourself up for the best possible situation. If everything stays how it is, then you don't truly believe it, right? So I hope I'm making a little sense here. Let me see what else we got here. Hey, new to the channel, popped up in my feed. Glad to hear that, man. Um, I'm really excited about making videos and content. I'm not so much thrilled about making educational content, because I see myself as like on the same journey as you guys and everyone else. I'm pretty new to everything, so um, I don't really I don't really see myself as like an expert who has something uh, that I feel super confident in teaching yet, right? The goal is to obviously become proficient in all these skills and stuff so that I can teach others, not really on the internet, but more people I care about, people in my community, right? Uh, but I've been thinking that it would be beneficial for my channel to be a hub of useful knowledge. Not that necessarily knowledge that I have, but if I can get access to some of these different people, or even people that I know that do have something to teach, and say, hey, come and like do something with me, show me something, or let's film a video that would have some useful information for somebody else, um, kind of to collect the information. And there's a lot of prepping gun information all over the internet, but it's very fractionalized and scattered. So the recent videos I just put out, um, with my buddy Nigel, trying to bring some information together into just one or three videos, right? Because when you're going down the rabbit hole and you're just getting into it, it's very confusing. Like, hey, what is the different pieces of tactical gear, and what are they best suited for, and why would I need one or the other, right? People get locked into something they think looks cool, without knowing about the other options, or they don't know the downsides, or they don't even understand why a certain piece of gear was created in the first place. So it's kind of my goal is to make motivational, fun content, but also to kind of um, be a little bit of a hub of information. Um, Not because I have the answers, but because I just want people who are, I want our movement, if you want to call it that. I want our movement to speed up the process of people, because everyone is, by the way, everyone is waking up, quote unquote. Everyone is getting into this. Um, People are coming our way, and so I want to expedite the process of, I find out about this, I start searching videos on YouTube, or God forbid, reading Reddit posts, and expedite the process from just the basic interest and that looks cool, or I think I need this for my situation, but I'm not really sure because I don't know, to, you know, having a good solid idea of what you need, um, good solid point of gear and rifle or handgun or whatever. So I want to expedite that process. You're a state or two west. Cool. So like South Dakota or something like that. Words show belief, actions show conviction. That's true. Um, Man, I really wish most of you younger guys could have experienced the US pre 9/11. I've been through two of these black swans now, and not to be black pilled, but it's only going to get worse. Yeah, I think it's hard not to be black pilled. And I think even us younger guys, I think we have this sense that we haven't seen what's coming and we haven't experienced it, but we know it's going to be bad. Obviously, you can't know how bad, um, and something you experienced, you can't really properly guess how it's going to be. But I think we just have this sinking feeling in our gut that it's going to be like, okay, everything we've known is not going to be how it is in the future. Um, hey, I've been enjoying the frequent informational uploads. They help me get my thoughts organized on these topics. Keep up the good work, man. Always remember the Lord is with us. Yes. I heard a good talk today about um, picking an emotion that you want to feel in the moment, and excuse me, my throat gets dry when I talk like nonstop. Picking the emotion that you want to feel in the moment, and it's a very interesting thing, and I think I forget to do it all the time, but it's so useful. And basically, it's very easy to get into this groove, this slump of feeling sad or down about things, or just feeling a default emotion of like just numbness or whatever, just to kind of get through the week. But you can choose to have this emotion of um, excitement, happiness, fulfillment, excuse me, or even when things are bad, right? Especially if you're religious or you're a Christian, it's like, hey, I know how this is going to end, right? I know that um, no matter what happens, I'm a winner either way. I know that my Lord's coming back. I know that there's a future for me in the next life, and whatever happens to me in this life is not the end all be all, right? So I might see tragic things happen in my lifetime, but that doesn't have to rule my mood all the time, right? Um, I don't think I should live in a permanent state of black pilled, just being down, right? I don't think I should just be down all the time. All right, let's check the chat and get back to our main topic. All right, nothing new. Okay, let's get back into the Trump slump. So, when things get good, people they take their foot off the gas. They forget their reasons. They forget the passion and the why. And this is a problem. This is a problem. I I don't know how many people when Trump got elected, if they breathed, how many people breathed a sigh of relief and were like, everything's gonna be okay now. Excuse me. We're saved. We're we're good, right? I don't know how many people were like that. I don't know how many people fell for it. I can't say. I don't know. I feel like it was a lot of people. It was most people, but maybe a certain percentage or a large percentage of people were like, but is anything going to change? Or um, I don't think that it means we're going to have 4 years of bliss. When Trump was elected, I was very hesitant. I had been doing a lot of training and prepping. Um, all last year, I was in not where I should have been, but I was in a little bit panic mode right towards the end. Um, and again, it was a little bit of the emotionality caught up with me. You know, I was buying gasoline and rice and stuff, and it's not bad, I guess. But I was feeling the pressure. Then Trump won, and I knew he would win. Okay, I hate to sound arrogant, but I think it was obvious that he was going to win, right? The whole media landscape and everything, the way that everything transpired there, was just like there was no way that Kamala was gonna take the cake there. But anyways, I anticipated he was gonna win. Um, I prepped hard in case he didn't, but when he did win, I didn't feel like anything changed. I was like, I don't know if that's like I didn't want to take my foot off the gas. And at first I felt like everyone was just like, "Oh my goodness, the golden age is here. We're gonna have such a great time. You're gonna get tired of winning. It's gonna be so much winning. It'll be the most winning you've ever seen." And so that's what it felt like everyone was doing, but it's hard to gauge exactly what the population as a majority is feeling like, because the internet's not really a good gauge of that. Your algorithms are just what they are. But man, I did not take my foot off the gas. All this year, I have been I've been lifting, I've been rucking, I've been running, I've been making friends, um, I've been buying gear, and I feel very solid. I feel very, I'm not anywhere where I want to be, but I feel very good. And now, with kind of how things are going now, this year has not been like they say, aren't you tired of winning? Hasn't it been just so much winning that you're just fatigued at this point? Well, no, frankly, I'm not fatigued from winning. I'm fatigued from everything being the same as it always has been. Um, Anyways, frankly, I think this administration sucks, but whatever. Let's not get into that too much. But that being said, I think the midpoint of this year, maybe June specifically, it was the Iran stuff really shook people up. Um, all of that, the threat of World War III, always, and you get all the clickbait titles. Um, but people started to change. They're like, anyone who was left over, who, when Trump won, they're like, yay, we're saved. Everything's going to be just hunky dory now. Anyone who was left over from there, about June, July this year, I felt like they all started to come back over and be like, oh, wait, actually, I shouldn't have stopped prepping. I shouldn't have stopped training. I shouldn't have stopped making friends, because, you know, it doesn't really make a difference who's in office. The country as a whole, the world as a whole, will get worse if it gets worse. It's not going to make a difference what administration is there, and certainly certain people can sabotage things, but we're looking at a bigger timeline than 4 years, or at least I think you should be. Um, Things don't happen quickly, right? They don't happen in a blink of an eye. And I think that the coming future of this country, the hardships and whatever you want to call it, I think it's been building for 20, 30 years, at a minimum. And I really like Forward Observer because he kind of breaks this stuff down. Um, and it's not going to happen overnight. And if it does happen overnight, it's because of things that have been happening for the past like 30 years. So to say that because just one president got elected that you everything's going to be fine and life will be normal for a while, it very well may be, and I hope so, right? Um, but that doesn't mean you should stop training. Let me see what we got here. No king but Christ. Absolutely, Christ is king. I feel like things accelerated in 2020, and I feel like the next 4-ish years have brought us time and slowed slightly, but the inevitable can't be stopped. I don't know, man. So it depends on who you think is going to cause the collapse or the problems. Because I think a lot of people think of it as an incompetent president or something, or accidentally starting a nuclear war. But the truth is, or this is just an alternative way to look at it. Just for a second, you've got the country, you've got your demographics, you've got all the people in the country, and those are the players on the board. The players on the board are the players, right? So the changing events and the changing administrations and policies and wars, it just casts different light on the players on the board. Um, but the board's the same, right? So it I think that the Trump this last year, um, of the Trump administration has been very interesting because there's been some things that have happened that have cast a lot more light onto how people are feeling and on all sides of the spectrum, right? um, what people want, what people are willing to die for, what people are willing to kill for. And I think it's been very sobering to see like certain lines drawn in the sand. And we won't get too much into the specifics of all that, but so much has happened in the last year. It's crazy. Let me think. What is it? November, we just had the election. Man, this was a fast year, but I guess you could say a year and a half ago, was it September, was when Trump got uh, shot at, or assassination attempt, they call it. Um, and just since then, so many things have happened. It's been crazy. All right, let's see what do we got here. Yes, so let me let me wrap up what I'm saying about the Trump slump and training. This is my challenge to you. You should come up with a purpose, a plan, and a strategy, a direction you want to go in life. And you should continue on that path no matter how things are, no matter who's in office, no matter what's going on, no matter the price of ammo, right? You should continue to do the things you believe in because they're a reflection of you. Your actions are a reflection of you and your character and your beliefs. Your actions shouldn't be a reflection of external circumstances. And I think that's super important because so many people, they just bounce around like a ping pong ball through life, reacting to things. Whereas I think it's way more beneficial to be strategic, to sit down and say who you want to be and where you want to go and what you think the future has and how to best prepare for it. So, man, keep training, keep um, becoming self sufficient, keep making friends. You need people on your side. Um, Cliche, meet your neighbors. Um, yeah, anyways. But those things that you do shouldn't be affected by the external circumstances. Sometimes you need to adjust a strategy or whatever, but anyways. And you pair those flared tempers on both sides with AI and algorithms dividing the divide harder. Yeah, the division is crazy. Um, Crazy. Now, me, I don't know what your politics are. My politics are America first. Um, I'm an American. I'm a Christian before I'm an American. I'm always be a citizen of heaven before I'm a citizen of America. So my loyalty is first to God. Um, After that, my loyalty is to this country. And obviously my family, my church, whatever, all that's in there too. But I think that is part of my country, that it's included. That is America to me, right? Um, but that's it. I don't have um, any burning passion or desire to save or go get involved in anything on the other side of the world. I have my own community to build. I have my own country. I have my own church. I have my own family. Why would I want to go and fix problems on the other side of the world when there's problems right here, right? And that's why I'm America first. And I think it's a great statement. It's unfortunately a dividing statement. It shouldn't be. Um, it shouldn't be, especially if you're someone that took an oath to the Constitution. I think that's a problem. If you have a problem with the phrase "America first," that's a problem. But anyways, not to get super political. Oh yeah. All right. Somebody give me a topic. Someone give me a question or something you just wanted to discuss in general. Side note, I recently thought of this series I might do for fun about camouflage patterns. I'm a I'm a camo nerd, military camo. I don't know. I just they're cool. There's so many of them. There's they tie into like historical things. It's fun to go out and test them in the woods, in a field, see what's effective. I just like camo. So I'm thinking about doing the series where, excuse me, each video is a different camo pattern, and we just kind of go through the history of it, the effectiveness. Um, and there are some videos on YouTube I gotta go through because I just had this idea like yesterday. There are some series on YouTube like this where they explore different military camo patterns, but I think that they're either not very well done, like just a dude talking to the camera, so not very like documentary style, less professional, or um, they're like those AI generated top 5 videos that just nobody watches, or somebody in the Jarkata watches, or somebody's watching them because they get views, but maybe it's bots. I don't know. But I'm thinking about making these, and I'm not sure if I don't really want to do every camo pattern, every military camo pattern, because it's a long list, and there's some I really don't care about. So I'll probably, if I do this, I'll probably just start with some of the ones that I like, or I'm interested in, or I think have a cool history. And it gives me an excuse to get hands on it with the camo pattern, right? It's a great excuse. So I might do that. I think that would be fun. And make it very professional with like historical videos and documentary music and voiceover and B-roll, right? Make it like a mini doc, like 20 minutes, right? All right. Chest rig or LBE? Oh, so what's the question? Like as a recommendation or what I would get or what I like? Because I'm definitely say chest rig. There's chest rigs are so versatile. There's so many kinds, and you can build them however you want. But the main reason I like a chest rig is it's up here, right? It's on the front. I can access everything pretty good. You can't carry maybe as much weight with it, but it's like I don't need to carry um, 20, 30 steel mags, or at least I don't feel the need to. Or especially if I need to, I can have most of those in my pack, and I don't feel like I need to access them all right now. So chest rig because I like doing things in vehicles and cars and um, buildings. So we talked about this in the recent video, but LBE, it's just a lot of stuff around your waist. You can't. It's so hard to sit down. It's annoying, like getting in a vehicle, especially an old Toyota. So I have some friends who have it, and hey, if you're just out doing field craft, digging trenches, doing land nav, you're running like just an IAR kind of setup, it's awesome. It's awesome. So if you're a traditional soldier and that's all you do is dismounted operations, um, like an infantry stuff, it's great. But it just doesn't fit my needs at all, right? Because that's not my focus. My focus is like like general security. So Milsurp camo is fun. Milsurp and camo is fun. Yes, it is fun. Unfortunately, I don't really have any good um, surplus stores near me. I had one and they closed down, but they had mostly like what is that one company? Rothko. Most of their stuff was Rothko. They'd rarely ever get in like surplus Navy or surplus Marine stuff. I don't know. So I end up ordering stuff online usually. Drone operation as squad size element. How many drones should a squad size element have while on mission or establishing an LPOP or even um, area of operation patrol? Don't do UCP unless you can find. Okay, I'll get back to the question about drones just a second. Don't do UCP unless you can find a pile of crushed concrete. Okay, I have a hot take. I have a hot take. I kind of like UCP now. Kind of like it. Now, I certainly like AOR1 or Desert Marpat more than UCP because it's got a tan tinge to it. But especially after watching the movie Warfare, I I really I kind of like it. I kind of like it. It's a certain specific vibe. It's I think the most it's the most fun if you run it like just the top. And I went out and I went to I think it was a thrift store and I found one, a UCP top. Excuse me. Um, but like the transitional period, early 2000s, where they're moving away from the M81 and DCU, Tricolor Desert, to the UCP. And so if you kind of mix the gear together and the camo patterns together, I think that's fun. I think it's really fun. Especially got like a black one M4 or a car 15. So I'm 100% I am building a retro kit. And that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun. I'll make some videos on that. Yeah, see, people hate on UCP because it's popular to hate on. I've tried dyeing it too. Some people have had good results with dyeing it. I used the wrong color of green, so it ended up kind of being like a teal. It was terrible, so I threw it out. But just regular UCP, and here's the thing, it works really good in the winter. Look up a couple of videos on YouTube. It actually works well in the winter, um, surprisingly. So it's fun. It's a fun option, and it's so cheap to get a hold of. So, anyways, that being said, I don't recommend buying a pack in it unless you're gonna dye it. But as um, a field top, it's a fun option. Warfare is certainly in my top 5 movies. Yeah, I haven't really thought about it, like where I'd place it, but yeah, as far as a war movie goes, it's definitely top 5 war movies. Probably top 5 movies in general for me. Top 10, sorry, top 10 movies in general. Okay, let's get into the drone topic real quick. I don't have much experience in that, so I'm not going to get into it too much. How many drones for a squad size element? Okay, so if you are a group of civilians and vets or whatever, and you have a squad size element, 2 fire teams, plus whatever, a squad leader and a radio operator or something like that. So let's say 9 to 12 guys, 9 to 13 or whatever. How many drones? I think there should be, okay, this is whoever you have, whatever skills you have, structure however you want, right? Do whatever you want. That's the thing is like we're civilians trying to come up with um, ways to defend ourselves for hypothetical scenarios that might not be hypothetical in 20 years, right? So you can, but the beauty is you can do whatever you want. Um, you can do what's fun, but I'd recommend doing what is realistic because fun won't save your life, right? But fun is still fun. So, how many drones? A squad should have, this is just me talking, just don't take it for anything, okay? But theoretically, I think a squad should have one drone operator. That would be awesome. If you could get one guy on every fire team who had a drone, that would be really good too. Because I think as civilians, we're going to operate at um, in small groups. Very often, you won't have more than a fire team of guys in any specific area, or if you do, you might have to split them up for a fire a maneuver and fire support by fire element. So, but if one team gets stranded somewhere, or they get cut off, or you get distant, or you lose radio contact, or something like that, just the ability for your four-man fire team, or however big he is, that fire team is, just the ability for them to have a drone to send up and do a little bit of reconnaissance. Obviously, you got to be careful about the security of doing that because um, you're sending out signals. You got to be careful. And then also there's FPV too. How many drones? Okay, I'm gonna say at least one. At least one. It would be really cool if you had two Mavics and on a squad you had two Mavics and you had two FPVs. That would be awesome. But you also have to have people that can fly them without crashing them. We got a couple guys that do are flying FPV or building FPV drones, and I might do that myself. Maybe next year, maybe. I say that for everything though. I'm definitely buying a Mavic Mini, um, partly for video work, but also for recon. Definitely getting one. Again next year. Okay, what do we got here? Winter and urban ops. Okay, winter operations. Okay, so I don't know much about winter stuff. In terms of like being an infantry soldier in the winter, I don't know much about it. I should put some on this fire. Um, but I've been building some kit, collecting some different things for this winter because I want to go on an overnight camping trip in the winter. But I want to do it as a recon op. So I want to do it when there's snow. I got snowshoes. Get some of my buddies to get snowshoes, or they have snowshoes. But we're gonna go out and we're gonna just do a certain so many miles patrol out, do some recon, and then find like a temporary patrol base to set up and camp out for a night. Probably just one night, just because don't want to bite off more than I can chew. But yeah, 0 degree temperature. So I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do this. I just know I need to get better sleep system. I might need a tent for that. Probably want a tent for that. So it's going to be rough. But I am building a chest rig right now that I can run all the same kind of gear that I usually run on my plate carrier, but without the plates, because I don't want to be snowshoeing and be super top heavy um, with a plate carrier and a ruck and be flopping on my face or tripping all the time. So I definitely say chest rig or LBE. Um, and then the other consideration too is in the winter, if you spend any time in the winter, which most people have, I think, if you're any outdoorsy at all or live in the north, um, you're going to be changing layers a lot. So you're either going to be changing out your socks to dry socks, or you're going to be layering up when you're static and not moving, or you're going to be layering down. Or you're going to be taking something off that got a little too sweaty because you were wearing too much and you were moving and then you started to accumulate sweat. You need to get that layer off and replace it so that it doesn't freeze up or get cold or you can really run into a lot of issues um, if you start to get sweaty. So I don't know a whole lot about it. I spent a lot of time out in the cold, but just doing like civilian stuff like clearing driveways or whatever, cutting wood. So As far as like hiking for 10 miles in the snow, that's going to be new for me. So I'm excited to do that. Urban operations. I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about that. I don't know exactly what to say. The first thing that comes to mind is like you're either going to be completely overt or completely covert. A lot of people try to do something in between, which I think is stupid because if you are if you are trying to be covert, but you also like are holding a rifle or you have a plate carrier on that's like a civilian color, that's like you're just lying to yourself at that point. You're not covert. You are still overt. You're just not wearing all of the kit. So it's like go all the way. Either show force, you were all there in full kit and you are covering your sectors of fire, you're moving with professionalism, and you are there for a specific reason. You're not wandering around in the streets. Obviously, we're not talking about a situation with rule of law, right? That would be like a Walking Dead or um, or like a Chaz type situation, right? What happened over in was it Seattle, Washington in 2020? That's a situation where you will maybe be over. Maybe depends on the situation. Um, but like either be overt or covert, right? And covert is you look like a normal person. Someone looks at you and they don't take a second glance. They're not gonna think. You could even have you and your buddies. You don't even have to walk together, right? Multiple sides of the street, spaced out. You don't all aren't all wearing flannels. I know, shocker, right? Flannels are great, but guess what? If you see a five-man team of military-age males who are hopefully somewhat jacked and don't have massive pot bellies moving down the street, what are you gonna think? You're gonna think they're cops or FBI or something else, right? So that's not covert either. All right, let me see what we got here. Yes, if you're gonna run a drone, definitely do research into all of the frequencies that they're emitting and the ones that you can block or the ones that you can spoof, right? There are some frequencies that you can spoof, such as the location. Man, my throat's really giving out. The GPS location of the home unit, right? So your phone or your controller, your drone is always emitting that signal. You can spoof that signal. Um, that is one thing, but look into that because you don't want to be in a situation where get yourself killed because you are trying to see things through bird's eye view. Drones have changed the battlefield and has effectively, in my opinion, replaced mechanized armor in the extinction list. Yes. So Ukraine has changed things significantly. However, I think sometimes it's overstated a little bit because um, Ukraine has changed warfare forever, for sure, just like every war pretty much has. Vietnam changed war, right? A lot of our current tactics are from Vietnam. The GWAT changed war. Obviously, World War II greatly changed, especially with the jet fighters coming in and the nukes at the end, or hydrogen bombs, or whatever you want to call them. But that being said, I don't think we should just watch Ukraine combat footage and just assume that everything applies to what we're doing and copy their kit. I've seen some people shilling this. I've seen some people who I won't name yet um, talking about Ukraine all the time and setting up their kit exactly how they see people doing things in Ukraine. And it's like, dude, have you even sat down and thought about what your mission is or what's likely to happen in your area of operation? It's like, why is it that we have to assume that whatever happens here is going to look like Ukraine? You know, like what's the likelihood of howitzers shelling your road, right? Could happen, maybe. But like, what's the likelihood of that? What's the likelihood of you getting hit with shrapnel um, from ordnance exploding, or even frag grenades? Like, what's the likelihood of you being around frag grenades? Hopefully, you are never around frag grenades. But I'm just saying, you got to think about this stuff, because people are like, people did this with the GWAT, right? People said, well, Afghanistan, like that was all YouTube before the Ukraine stuff. YouTube was just um, these GWAT vets showing off how they had their kit set up in Afghanistan or Iraq. And they say, yeah, well, I ran it like this and I had this like that and this like that. And everyone did the same stuff that they did because it was recommended as good information. I'm not saying it's bad information, it's great information. It's coming from a place of experience, right? All I'm saying is that you need to just sit down and say, okay, it's great that they set their kid up like this. It's great that they use this specific thing. Okay, is that applicable to my situation, right? Or even try it. Try setting it up. Try buying that product or whatever. But just because that person did it or just because it's being used doesn't mean that it's for you, right? Um, Man, that sounds liberal. I don't know why that sounded so woke, but you get what I'm trying to say. I know it's off topic, but the ability to secure food for one's friend is vastly overlooked. Yes, that's something that I think about very often is like, how long can I last with the food I have? Um, you know, because everyone, you can start a garden, but it's not going to be, if depending on the time of year, your garden won't, you can't start a garden. But if you happen to be in the right time of year and you need food and you start a garden, you're not going to get the food for, another 6 to 9 months, right? So everyone's going to be out hunting, and everyone's going to be out hunting, and everyone's going to be shooting each other out hunting. So you're going to be hunting animals, and then you're also going to be being hunted by humans at the same time. And then the population of wildlife, such as deer or whatever, they're going to, obviously, this is just obvious knowledge and cliche, but like it's going to diminish fast. But also, they're going to get smart and they're going to start hiding, and it's going to get very difficult to find or drive out some of these animals. They're going to get smart. So you can't rely on that for feeding your family long term. There's no good answer besides having a whole farm and producing all your food. Um, but that's difficult to do, man. You're leaning towards combining the chest rig and the LBE. I think I'm onto something. Okay, well, I'd be interested to see how that works out. Um, I think the closest I've seen to like a chest rig that was kind of LBE is like people will have like a split rig that's like the big molly ones, and they'll kind of lower it down, and then they just got all this molly space. So they've got like pouches from the center onto the sides, but not really anywhere else. So I could see that being nice. I could see that being nice. I've got a great question to discuss. Do civilians need body armor? Again, the volume is super low. It'd be great if you could get it up. All right, yeah, I'll adjust it a little bit more. Um, Turn your hearing aids up. How about that? And give me 1 second. All right, that is louder, I think. I don't know. Oh, I can change the button right here. Is that better? All right, let's go with that. Let's go with that. um, okay, my camera's just looking for focus. We're good. I thought I had to change my battery. And is it focused now? Yes, it's focused. Okay. What was the question? Oh, body armor, civilian body armor. Okay, I'll say this. This is a hot topic. It depends on what you want to do. It depends on what your goals are. But let me just say this. If you're watching videos like mine, and if you foresee yourself getting together with friends to do security of any kind where bullets could be flying, yes, you should have armor. That's the short answer. And this phenomenon, where okay, so in the LARP community or the LARPosphere, for some reason it became super trendy for like the past 10 years to run just LBE or chest rigs, because we're civilians and we're gonna blend into the population and we're gonna ditch our kit and throw it in a bush, or um, we want to be fast and light and use hit and run tactics, or whatever the reason is. And I'm not saying there's no merit to any of those arguments, but at the end of the day, it is just a fact that when bullets are flying, you want armor. Um, just that's just true. And I think maybe if you're like a long range sniper team, yeah, you probably don't need armor, right? Or if your job is specifically to like ruck 30 miles in a day, um, and you are going to deliver some information or bring something from one point to another, or you're doing something that's low risk, like you're doing some like a specifically only a recon mission, low chance of contact, and you are just observing an area from afar, then yeah, I probably don't need armor for that. I probably wouldn't either. I wouldn't take it either. But man, um, I think that whole train of thought also was a reaction from all the special forces bros on YouTube, where these people would, civilians I'm talking about, civilians would set up a plate carrier. My home defense plate carrier setup with 2.5 mags and one tourniquet and nothing else besides some Skittles, maybe. So it's like a reaction to that. They're like, no, we are infantry linemen. Um, uh, we are Vietnam era patrolling tactics. We are, all this stuff. And that stuff is great. I think you should do it. But it's like, you should also do that stuff while wearing armor, because that's what everyone does all over the world in every military. Also, anyone I talk to who has ever been around bullets flying, or has been in the military, or has any relevant experience, they all tell me, yeah, bro, I wouldn't go anywhere near a gunfight without body armor. So I don't think it's really controversial. Um, Again, now I'm saying, like, if depends on your mission. If you don't want to be around a gunfight, or you aren't going to hold a specific position, or you're not going to link up with your buddies and go patrolling, and your only goal is, I want to keep my family safe by looking like a civilian all the time and never step out of that. I'm never going to wear maybe this is you. I'm never going to wear camo. I'm never going to put on a chest rig. I'm never going to carry even a rifle. I want to look like a normal civilian getting into a Subaru with my family and getting out of town. Then yeah, you're not going to probably need armor. Or if you want armor, it's going to be like soft armor under clothes, for you and your wife, whatever. A concealed carry handgun, or something small like a PDW that you can hide under a jacket. But yeah, anyways, that's a conversation that you can beat to death. I'm going to move over a little bit. Ah. All right. It's hard to read this. I like to look at it Like it devolve into a third world country. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with that. Be bad at first in power struggles, and then it will all level out. There's still trade and there's still food, just not equal, just not quality selection. Well, I'm not sure what you're saying. Yeah, that's at least a little bit better. All right, glad it is better. Um, yeah, and the thing with a third world country, and this is something I was actually thinking about today at work. I think we think about a collapse a lot. We don't think very often about after the collapse, right? And my worry, which is like it happens, it will happen. It's not avoidable. Somebody always inevitably comes and seizes the power vacuum, right? So, if you're a good guy and you've got a good group of people and you've got good connections, maybe with your local sheriff, some different people, hopefully you guys can seize the local power, right? And that's not in a nefarious way, but it's like um you can't just have a power vacuum forever. You get a bad actor, you get somebody steps up and takes that. Inevitably, somebody will take charge or take ground or take control. And what I worry for this country is that if it's a complete disorganized collapse, which I don't think it will be, by the way. I think it'll be a very organized and planned collapse because everything else we've seen has been organized and planned. So why wouldn't that be too? But if it was a disorganized and unplanned collapse, just organic, then you're going to have chaos. Then you're going to have people kind of getting to some sense of third world um, normalcy with no government. But within no time flat, you're going to get mercenaries. You're going to get different factions from the United States military or foreign entities, um, or just random dudes or criminals. Somebody's gonna take the power vacuum, and it's not gonna be the whole country be under one thing. I hope not, or probably not, like China or whatever. But it'll be regional stuff, right? And so you can't control your whole state. You can't stop criminals from so you live in Michigan, right? You can't stop criminals from taking over some town on the other side of your state. But you could try to be a good guy where you are and have lots of good guys on your side for your area. And I think that's a good thing to think about. But it's such a difficult thing to talk about because it's like you can study history, you can study like different parts of the world to get an idea of what this looks like. It's a very crazy concept for us to even think about happening here, though. A super chat or whatever you call that thing. Here's some money. Good work you're doing. Thank you, sir. I I know you. I just don't remember which account that is. Everybody has fake names nowadays. Rome fell, but everything in it didn't just disappear. It fractured into smaller states controlled by themselves. Yep. Yeah, it fractionalized. And so we might see something like that here for sure. The US would most likely be a city state kind of thing like ancient Greece. Yeah, honestly, I'm down for that. There's a helicopter. Guys, the Blackhawks are coming for me. Um, oh, I can't say that. I can't dox myself. All right, I won't say that. Well, I think my phone's gonna die here any minute, and my fire is dying down. My camera battery's gonna die. and it's getting late, so I'm gonna close it out. Um, but thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Again, I say I don't know if I'm gonna keep doing this or not. It's fun. Um, I don't know. I kind of like Friday nights for this. It works for me. But stay tuned. We'll have a video probably coming out Sunday, hopefully. Um, and share if any of my content was helpful for you. Share it with somebody. Share it with a friend or someone who needs it. Um, even just like a simple motivational video. Um, which, by the way, I have some planned and some motivational videos, and they're gonna be spicy. There might be a little bit of fat shaming, so I have to figure out how to do that without getting banned. By the way, so. But anyways, thanks for watching, and good night.